So you're looking to get started on social media. I love it. That's awesome. But buying the equipment you need shouldn't necessarily break the bank either. I got you. Okay, so if you want to get started on social media, first thing you need is a camera. Obviously, because we do work in a video format. Well, a visual format. A decent HD camera should cost you about $500 to $700. Now, if you want to go into 4K, if you have a little bit more to spend, totally recommend it. I wouldn't go too high, especially if you're just learning, because you'll probably wind up getting frustrated just because the camera is just going to be so out there and it's going to have all these features that you're probably just not going to use or care about or really know anything about. Also, the reason why I said HD, which would be considered to be 1080 instead of 4K, is because while 4K cameras are coming down, if you really don't have the little extra money to shell out for the 4K, it's really the easiest thing probably to get rid of, just because it's kind of a little thing. A lot of people are still in 1080 and it's totally acceptable. Even now, I would say that you're going to want to get there eventually, but right now it's really not necessary. The other thing is, don't use your phone if you have a choice. I completely understand if you don't necessarily have the budget and your phone is all that you have. Most phones are pretty good. Now I say most, there's a brand that I shall not name that I don't really care for, where they claim their cameras are very good. They are not. But I will not mention the brand. If you know, you know. Because really what it comes down to is the size of the sensor. And the sensor is the part that actually picks up the light to create the image. The bigger the sensor, the more light and information it can take in, and will be better in low light situations. The next would be lighting. Lighting can make all the difference in the world. Even with a really bad camera, lighting can change everything. Lighting can make a very cheap camera look like $2,000 or $3,000 camera if you can do it well. So, and that's the key really with anything, is that if you know how to use it, it's, you know, you can go so far with it, right? If you go to like Amazon, $100 lights would probably do you just fine. Could you spend a lot more? Absolutely, but that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about on a budget. Should you get there eventually? Absolutely. Like all things, you should, as you outgrow them, you should be upgrading consistently. But just to get started, $100 just for some kind of light, and I recommend trying to find 2 of them just to get started, is more than enough. Okay, so let's talk about sound. Please do not use the camera's microphone. It's a teeny tiny microphone. The thing about microphones is the bigger they are, the richer sound, the hopefully better sound they have. Now that's not entirely true of the better sound. There are some very small microphones that can do very well. However, I recommend that you go to sweetwater.com. It is a place where they do mostly pro audio gear. They do have instruments and amplifiers like guitars and guitar amps as well. They do some lighting stuff as well. But this is my go-to place because they do everything very well. Their customer service is fantastic. They ship things to you very well and safely is the point. Whereas, you know, going to like Amazon where they specialize in everything, you know, don't necessarily trust them with that one. But I would go find a Rode microphone, and you'll have 2 options. Number one is you'll have a microphone that could go on top of your camera, and will pick up everything that's in front of it generally. Or you can do what's called a lapel microphone, which should come with a receiver and a transmitter. And Rode microphones, the lapel mics they're making now are squares. They're a little bit bulky, but they sound pretty good. One goes on top of your microphone, on top of your camera. I keep saying that, I'm so sorry. And the other one goes on your lapel. So right now for me, it might be like on my tie here, you know, on my collar. Preferably not rubbing up against somebody's neck, but I mean, it happens. Personally, I would go for the lapel microphone. It looks a little bit bulky. And it'll be, unfortunately, in the camera, which I don't really care for. But it's closer to the person's mouth. and that will get you a better sound. And not to mention that it is wireless. So that means that I could be anywhere within whatever the range is. I'm sure it's probably 50 to 100 feet, and it'll pick up just fine. And, you know, the other thing I guess you'll need is a tripod, 10, 20 bucks. I mean, there's no need to get crazy. You're really only looking to just be able to put your camera down so you're not holding it all the time, really. And just to make sure that it's stable. And I can get high enough, I guess, too. But most of that should be taken care of with, at most, 30 bucks. I mean, seriously. These are the very basic things that you will need in order to start on social media. Probably will run you about $1,000. You know, that might seem like a lot to get started, but, you know, things are in this realm are actually very expensive because a lot of this technology is still being made better and better. And, you know, you have to also keep in mind that you get what you pay for in this world, in this, you know, technology realm. You know, you buy a $5,000 camera, you're going to get a ton of pixels in that image and, you know, 8K video, versus if you spend $700, you're going to get, you know, enough pixels. But, you know, right, you get the point though. You know, more expensive microphones sound better than cheaper ones, you know. So, well, and I guess, as I'm thinking about it now, something I left off my list earlier was you're probably going to want to find some kind of editing software. There are some free ones out there. I highly suggest starting with, seeing. If you're dedicated to this, then I would say go for something like DaVinci or Final Cut or Premiere. All of them are good choices. They're all different. Do your research. I'm not sure how much all of them cost, other than Premiere, because I use it. It's like 50 bucks a month, which is, you know, it's a bit pricey, but it's worth it for me for what I do. And it comes with the whole suite. So I have Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator, you know, everything that I could possibly need with that $50 a month. So it's, you know, for me, it's worth it. For you, it may not be. But yeah, so like $1,000 plus like 50 bucks a month, we'll call it, to get started. You know, that's really all that you should need. And if you learn how to use it, which I'm a big advocate of, learning how to use your gear, you can, well, you'll set yourself up for success with, as you get new gear, but also you can make, at the time that you have less expensive gear, less high, you know, a little bit lower quality gear, you can make it look much better or sound much better as well. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.